Good evening, everybody. This is Tom from 6 Foot Networks in Los Angeles, California. This evening, I would like to go over a slight pain point that many Mac engineers or administrators have sort of shared over the years. And there's a utility that takes some of those pains away by bringing tools and features back to the macOS environment that Apple supports nor provides, either because they removed some tools or they have never supported them to begin with. So let's dive right into this. You can see here that I'm running a 10.13.3 macOS virtual machine on top of my production Big Sur system. The reason I brought this virtual machine up is because it's base install. There's outside of the typical Mac software that Apple provides, there's really nothing else on this machine. It's out of the box. So some of the tools that I've used in the past that have made my life as an engineer a little bit easier here and there specifically are, and the three tools that I'm kind of going to use as an example, even though there's literally thousands of them that you could use. The three that I'm going to talk about here are Telnet, FTP, and Nmap. Now, if you're not familiar with those tools, feel free to pause the video. You can, down in the description, I'll provide links to each of these if you're interested or if you just want to research further. Now, if you type Telnet just out of the box like that and you hit enter, it will tell you command not found. Same thing if you do it for FTP. Command not found. And Nmap. Command not found. So how do we fix this? Well, as you can see, Apple doesn't provide these tools. So what we need to do is we need to use a third-party package manager to install those tools. Now, I've heard some people say that they can take Telnet from an earlier installation of macOS or some other location, either a Linux machine or something, and copy it over and it works. And I feel like that would cause more problems in the end than the trouble that it's worth. So why not just do it the right way? There is a gentleman by the name of Max Howell who created Homebrew. Now, some people laugh at the name, but for me, it's a godsend. This is the missing package manager for macOS. Hands down, this has straight up been a lifesaver for me. Here's why. So Homebrew has a centralized repository of a ton of tools. And, we can go through, open a new tab here and see what, formulas or packages in this case are available. And this is alphabetized by package name. So you can scroll through this and there's literally A to Z, thousands of them. Okay. Some of them great, some of them awesome, some of them maybe not so awesome, but the web page was reloaded because it was using significant memory. Yeah, this web page is huge, so I don't doubt that. So I'm just going to close that out. So what this does is it allows you to, via command line, install tools that are available. Now, to install Homebrew, you can cut and paste or hit this little clipboard and paste this into a terminal session on your Mac and just follow the prompts. It'll give you, it'll tell you everything. This is so straightforward that I feel like my mom could install this on a Mac that she doesn't own and be able to use it right out of the box. And the syntax is relatively easy, especially if you've done some admin work or engineering work on the Mac. Okay, so how does it work? So I'm going to skip forward here. Let's just pretend that we went through the installation process, which does take a little bit because you have to install the command line tools for Xcode and a few other things, and it just takes some time. Depending on your internet connection, this could take anywhere from a few minutes, say 10 minutes, all the way up to, 45 minutes if you have some really slow DSL or something that, should really be upgraded. But I've already gone through the install process, and what I've done was I've taken these tools and I've installed them. So the syntax we know is brew, install, and then in this case, telnet. That's the first tool I'm talking about here. If you do return, it'll actually connect to GitHub. It'll find the package and it'll pull it for you. Now, one of the tools that I've used, that I've installed on here, is the iNet utils, and that essentially includes tools like telnet, FTP, and a few others inside of it. So now it's giving me the error that I have to, unlink iNet utils before I continue, which is fine because I've already have it installed and I know it works. So if I type telnet on the Mac natively now, it works. Now I have the ability to telnet into a system. So kudos. If we exit out of that, the same thing goes for FTP. If you do, brew install FTP, like I said, I already have it. So this will give me that same error. It'll connect, it'll pull it, and then let's see what we have here. Let it do its thing. And to anybody who's a beer drinker, the nomenclature should be pretty funny. You have bottles, you have formulas, you have brew, you have casks, you have this, you have that. It's actually really really cool. And we'll just let this go for a second. It shouldn't take that long. But you can see down here now, this command line window that I'm using on my Mac is actually the iTerm software. So if I roll up here, you can see iTerm 2. You can download it from the App Store. It is, in my opinion, a better alternate to the built-in terminal for macOS. And you get all these cool little charts down here that you can, or graphs, I guess, that will give you an idea as to what your system's doing. So you got, processor, RAM, network connectivity, both down and up. Sorry about my dock popping in. Date and time, battery level. So I'm running on battery right now. And then also the locations that each command is referencing or using. And that's a really nice thing to have, because sometimes I've run commands across the internet or through a VPN, something slower, and I don't know if it's responding or if it's stuck or if it's whatever. This tool actually gives me that. I can see that there's network connectivity, that something's happening. So you can see that the FTP command, the brew install FTP command came back. You have all these choices here as far as FTP clients go. You can install any of those. So you just have to specify which one you want. But either way, if I type FTP, I now have an FTP command line session open that allows me to connect to servers, move stuff around, whatever. So we're going to quit that. And finally, what we're going to talk about is Nmap, one of my favorite tools. It allows you to visualize certain ports that are open on a host or an appliance, either on your local network or out in the internet. It's a great tool for reporting, and it allows you to, to document literally everything that the computer is listening to on the network. So Nmap-V for verbose, and then I will try to connect to our file server here. And I'm going to hit enter. And you can see that this tool is doing literally everything for you. So it does the scan, it looks at 1,000 ports, and then it gives you a report of what ports are open and what services. So 21, 22, 53, 80, 139, 443, 445, and so on and so forth. Now, this happens to be a file server, so it does have 139 open for SMB and 548 for AFP, because it is an AFP server and we're a Mac shop. But this tool literally allows you to export this stuff to a text file, and Bob's your uncle. You got yourself a report. You can also do a scan of a range of hosts. So if you wanted to do, say, nmap-v, and let's just do an IP range. And let's do it through, I don't know. Let's do the first 25 hosts, because I don't know. This is our wireless subnet here in the office. So I don't know what's on it. Maybe a couple iPads. I know the server's on it because that's on every VLAN, but I don't know what we'll find here. So let's hit enter or return and see what we get. And again, it's going to scan. Look at all those ports it found. And it actually tells you, it'll give you a report on what's open on all these hosts. And then you decide what you do with that information. So let me scroll up here a little bit to get all of this information. So we looked at, what did we look at? 172.168.1 through 25. So the first essentially 20, I guess everything between those numbers. So 2 through 24. If I wanted to do 1 through 25, really, I should have done 0 through 26, and I didn't. So, but it did say it scanned 25 hosts. So you can see here that all these hosts are down because there's nothing at those addresses. And the only thing that we find is just these addresses, which looks like just a couple of phones, our file server, and maybe a few other things. But you can use this. You can use this as an audit. You can use this as a reporting tool for a client or a customer that wants to know what exactly each system is doing. And this will allow you to do that. So one of my favorite tools. And it also breaks it down here in a cleaner format by host. So that's it. 25 IP addresses, 5 of them are up, and it took a whole 16.48 seconds to scan. I think that pretty much covers it. Now, Homebrew, thank you, Max, for all of your work on this, and thank you for keeping it running all these years. It works. It just works, and it makes life so much easier. Again, as an engineer, as an administrator, this will make your life so much easier. I want to thank you all for tuning in and sticking around. I know these videos have been more of a how-to and less of the fun stuff, but we'll see if we can mix some of the fun stuff back in the upcoming, series of videos. Have a great evening. Thanks again for tuning in. Until next time.